And that is just proof that in this show, you never know how the tables will turn. Hey everyone, it is time that we talk about Kingdom, and we are on episode 3. In this episode, we have Stray Kids, ATEEZ, and SF9 performing. Last week, we saw the Boyz, BTOB, and iKON perform. And if you guys have missed any of my Kingdom videos, make sure to check out my playlist. I will be linking it on the description box below and at the end of this video, so you guys could catch up on all of my videos talking about Kingdom. Like I mentioned before, I try to keep myself from every spoiler as much as I can. I watch the full performances on YouTube, and then I watch the full episode on Viki. However, it was absolutely inevitable. It was inevitable that, of course, on my feed, I see people's reaction about some things that happened with some of the groups, specifically SF9. I said this in my last video. I'm trying to be very optimistic, all right, on Kingdom, specifically for SF9. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that, so stick around. Also, just like in all of my Kingdom videos, I will be asking you guys several questions throughout the video, so you guys could leave your answers to those questions on the comments below, because I want to make this video more interactive and stuff, and I absolutely love asking you guys questions and seeing your answers. Your answers for the last video were spot on, so good. But anyway, let's talk about episode 3. In this video, I will not be talking about the set specifically and the different effects that each stage had or anything like that, because we all know some groups had a higher budget than others when it came to the whole set design and whatnot and props. I'll try not to mention it either. I'm only focusing on the performance and the songs. Alright, so the first group up is Stray Kids. So I really like how we saw the behind the scenes, how Stray Kids really work hand in hand with the JYP staff. How they actually had a lot of people on their team working and giving them ideas for the concept and their performances and their song choices and things like that. I like how it's a very collaborative effort, and I'm pretty sure it's like that with all the groups. It's just we don't get to see it. And then we do see Bangchan work on the songs in his studio, and I loved seeing that. However, one moment that just made me so happy is seeing Wooyoung from 2PM. He kind of interrupted Stray Kids when they were doing their dance practice, but he was there and he gave them some advice. I absolutely love when other artists from the same company interact with the other artists, when they interact with each other, especially if it's a senior group with a younger group. I love that. I don't know if this is the video which I should be sharing this, but I will, because I trust you guys. So last week, or at least like 2 weeks ago, I mean, I've always known about 2PM. I mean, everyone knows 2PM, but I didn't really know much about the group or their songs specifically. I've always heard of them, but I didn't really know much about them. However, and I blame BTOB for this, which I will explain that, but I have gotten into 2PM. My goodness, they are legendary. And I kind of blame BTOB for that, for kind of indirectly getting me into 2PM. Because, and here's why. So now let's talk about Stray Kids' performance. Their whole performance is described as becoming a ghost by Stray Kids, evil live while fighting the inner ghost to survive. Stray Kids ultimately become ghosts themselves, and it's a mashup of side effects and God's menu, and the emphasis on the narrative for unique and colorful performance. The mashup of side effects and God's menu is perfect. Bangchan, his brain, both of those songs flowed so well throughout the entire performance. Props to Bangchan and anyone else who helped him arrange the song. So good. Felix with that bell gave me chills. That was so good. And it is so evident that you see every single member. You see it in their facial expressions and also by the intensity of how they dance. They are fighting. They're in it to win it. You see them perform with so much passion, and again, I'm gonna use the word intensity. Every single member really gave it their all in this performance. And there's a part where Bangchan is performing on top of a platform, and then you see a dancer parallel, basically doing the same movements, just upside down. That was so cool, and I really like the meaning behind it, even in their outfits. And you see how in the beginning the dancers are the ones kind of controlling them, and then in the end Stray Kids are the ones controlling them. I loved it. There was a lot of meaning behind it, and I just think how it was done was so well. And I gotta say, Wooyoung cheering for Changbin is the best. I mean, I love their friendship. Everyone's reaction while watching Stray Kids, they're just either speechless or they're all saying, wow, that's amazing. And then you have Changsub from BTOB, and he just comments on Stray Kids and their chiseled jawlines. That was hilarious. Again, leave it to BTOB to change up the mood somehow and just to make it really funny. And then in this case, Changsub, I think his reaction was the best, but it was hilarious. Overall, Stray Kids, so epic, and just again, they really have that fighter spirit when they perform. And I also think it's their songs too, because if you hear any of Stray Kids songs, they're the type of songs that you would play if you really need motivation. And I'm not talking about their song Boxer, which is really good. I highly recommend it. It's a really great song. All right, so question number 1 in this video, which song from your favorite group that is currently competing is your go-to song when you need some motivation? Let me know on the comments below. So next up is ATEEZ. We see Hongjoon really collaborate with their producer Eden, and again, I love seeing how they collaborate with people in their company, because like I said, usually we don't really see that collaboration or that teamwork behind the scenes, whether it's a comeback or a performance. You know, we usually don't see that, but I really liked how we saw Hongjoon work with Eden, and as well as the other guys talking to their choreographers to come up with ideas on what they could do with choreography. I really like how Hongjoon, he watched Pirates of the Caribbean to get inspiration for their performance, because their whole theme and concept is pirates. Fun fact to everyone that is watching this, one of my top favorite movies of all time is Pirates of the Caribbean. I've seen those movies so many times. I'm a huge fan. I love Pirates of the Caribbean, and seeing Hongjoon just get inspiration from that gets me so excited. So again, I also like how we see the hard work that Hongjoon puts in trying to arrange the song for the performance. And we also see how ATEEZ, at the same time that they're preparing for Kingdom, they're also promoting, because they had a comeback for their amazing song Fireworks I'm the One, which I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you guys have already heard it. It's a great song. But you really see how hard these guys work. If they're not promoting in music shows, they're busy practicing for Kingdom and vice versa. And then you have Hongjoon trying to arrange the song, which nobody in ATEEZ goes to sleep. Sleep is not part of their vocabulary. And I really do hope that they get some much needed rest, because when you rest, you perform your best. I just made that up. Anyway, so at one point, Eden suggested for Jungho to hit the 4th octave, and how he mentioned that Jungho is kind of like their secret weapon, which I firmly believe he is. And I didn't think that they would actually go through with it, but they did. So ATEEZ performance is described as ATEEZ Symphony number 9 from the Wonderland. And it's a time traveler's perspective of the pirate ship's voyage and adventures, showing off ATEEZ's explosive energy with Dvorak's from the New World for its grand arrangement and cinematic production. I love how ATEEZ, they have been very consistent in their identity and in their concept, and we see that in this performance. How Hongjoon starts the song was so awesome. You knew from the first few seconds of this performance it was going to be show-stopping. And one of my favorite parts of the performance is when Yoonho, he catches the sword. I feel like a lot of people might overlook that, because there's just a lot of incredible elements going on in their performance, but I thought that was really great. And Sunghwa, my bias, when there's the row of dancers and they all have rifles, and then in the end we see Sunghwa and he has his own rifle, and then he kind of like spins it and then he shoots the Kraken. I think that whole part of the performance was really epic. Just the part of the dancers being lined up with the rifles, and then Sunghwa in the end looked, it was just so epic. And Jungho and his high notes, and you know you're good depending on how BTOB reacts. I mean, you got the vocal kings themselves freaking out over Jungho's high notes. Again, I do believe that he is ATEEZ's secret weapon. And their dance break was spot on, epic. The music, the arrangement with the classical song, it just went so well. And ATEEZ is another group that you could see that they have that fighter spirit within them. You could really see that ATEEZ, they also have intensity and passion and a lot of power in their movements and in their performance, and they delivered a top-notch, solid, amazing, out of this world performance. Absolutely loved it. So question number 2. So far, out of all the concepts that you have seen on Kingdom, which concept is your favorite? Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be from your favorite group. It could be any group and any performance that they've already done. If you saw some interesting elements or really cool storyline, you guys could let me know on the comments below. So I love how supportive iKON is. I like that SF9, they were able to hear them cheer for them backstage right before SF9 went to perform. That was so sweet. I love that. Okay, so in this episode, we saw Chani interact with Golden Child's Bomin. I just think that interaction was so sweet, how Chani was asking Bomin any advice because Golden Child competed on Road to Kingdom, so I thought that was very sweet. And also Chani talking to Chanwoo from iKON as well. That was very sweet. So in SF9's behind the scenes segment, we do see how busy SF9 is because each member individually, they have their own schedules. Either they're performing in musicals or they're shooting a drama and things like that. They're all very busy, guys, and it is not easy to choreograph and to rehearse together when each member has a crazy schedule. So we do see how Youngbin and Taeyang, they were in the dance studio practicing, and then when a member had some free time, they would come to the studio and they would rehearse with them. And Youngbin and Taeyang, I believe they would teach them the choreography and then they would rehearse. And I give so much props to SF9 because each member individually, they have a packed schedule and then they have to make room for Kingdom practices as well. But I applaud how they still come together to make their performance work. In this episode, we really see how Juyeon, he struggled with the part in the dance where he climbs up several dancers and then he just jumps. I mean, the first time I saw the performance, I didn't really catch on to how high he had to jump, but seeing the behind the scenes, I noticed just how many people he was climbing up. I honestly have so much respect for him and just any person that's performing when they're under pressure and when they have pain. We do see how he got injured, but he kept pushing through it because he wanted to give the best performance that he possibly could. Their performance is described as SF9 Jealous, remake of original song Now or Never with orchestral arrangement for a grander interpretation, storytelling that accentuates sensitive portrayal by SF9, adding value to Kingdom. So basically that description told me absolutely nothing about the storyline behind their performance. However, I am happy that SF9 did explain the storyline in the behind the scenes, but I think Mnet could have done a little bit better when describing the story behind their performance. Or maybe it's a mistranslation, I really don't know. Taeyang starts off the performance and he has that the gold accessories and stuff, and it kind of reminds me of the evil queen in Snow White and the Huntsman. I loved that, just the male version. But I think how Taeyang starts it was a solid way to kick off this performance, and then how all the other members start adding on to the whole story of their performance. And another one of my favorite parts of their performance is when Dawn, he kind of breaks out from the red fabric and how he stares at the camera. That gave me chills as well. That was so good. He was really into it. Same for Zuho. You also see it. Honestly, you see it in all the guys. And Jaeyoon delivered the jump. It was so good. Seeing the performance again after seeing what happened behind the scenes and how much work and effort he put into it, it was so satisfying seeing him jump and do all the movements. And I think the ending was spot on, how all the guys were just standing there. It was so good. I was like, oh, they're in it to win it as well. So I think SF9's performance was definitely more on the show side. They told a story through their performance and it was so wonderful. I think their outfits was my favorite out of all the groups that competed in this challenge. SF9's was my favorite. I think those red outfits were so good and the accessories, they looked like princes. And I think it was so sweet how we saw Jaeyoon thank all of the dancers and just thank everyone after the performance. You could really see how relieved he was after that performance. It just really shows the type of person that he is and just the type of people that SF9 are. So question number 3, if you could put 2 groups that are currently competing to do a collaboration performance, which 2 groups would they be? Let me know in the comments below. All right, so moving on to the rankings. I don't even know where to start. The ranking for this week is based off of self-evaluation and the expert voting. So something that was absolutely heartbreaking, it really broke my heart, and I'm sure it broke everyone's heart, is seeing SF9 got 6th place. Okay, so regardless of what group gets 6th place, it is sad, all right? It was really heartbreaking when I saw iKON was in 6th place. Now it's SF9. Who knows who will be there next week? None of these groups deserve to be last because they are all talented. They all have their own unique charms and concepts, and they all deliver a spectacular performance. SF9 got 6th place. However, when it came to the self-evaluation, apparently no one voted for them. That was hard to hear. And I can't imagine how SF9 felt. Seeing the fact that they got 0 votes on that, it hurt. It really hurt. But I saw this with iKON and iKONics. I believe the fact that SF9 was placed in 6th is just motivation for the group and the fandom. And I'm just trying to be really optimistic. I'm trying to see the silver lining. I'm trying to see what good can come out of this. So again, the fact that SF9 placed 6th, this is a strong motivator for everyone to just band together and really help SF9. And I think this is also motivation for the group to really break out of their comfort zone even more and to deliver an even grander performance. So I think SF9 will definitely put everything that they have on the table in their future performances, and I look forward to that. So a perfect example of a group that was almost last and now they're ranked in 1st place is ATEEZ, and that is just proof that in this show you never know how the tables will turn. I mean, whoever's first, they could be last, or whoever's last, they could be first. And I do believe ATEEZ had a really strong performance this week. So yes, very well deserved. ATEEZ, it was great. When I saw their performance, I was speechless. Their performance for sure was top-notch, amazing, spectacular, out of this world, show-stopping. Awesome. And I do want to mention the preview for the next episode looks so good. Just Minhyuk from BTOB. You guys know he's my bias, so I am looking forward to it and I'm really excited, and hopefully all the groups are treated equally and fairly. And yeah. Alright, so that wraps up my thoughts on Kingdom episode 3. Overall, like I mentioned in all of my previous episodes, I am a fan of each of these groups. I want all of them to do their best. I want the whole world to see how talented all of these groups are. So if you guys are new to my channel, hello and welcome. You guys could feel free to subscribe. I post reaction videos on a weekly basis, and I also have a blog where I talk more about comebacks, album reviews, and song reviews. I will link it on the description box below so you guys could check it out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.